So, Katherine, Legge, Kat, whatever the hell you're called. If you could summarize this dinner we just had in one word, what would it be?
Open.
That's your fucking word.
My fucking word. Well, I was going to say.
So
So, Kat.
Katherine, Legge, Kat.
Kat.
Is it Kat? What are we going by?
Catherine.
All right.
Oh, wait. So, do you not like Kat?
It's not that I don't like it. It's just.
You'd prefer Katherine.
I've never been Kat. No,
Until-
I'm Kat, but I'm not really.
You're not to us.
I'm Katherine.
But whatever. So this dinner we just had,
So thingamabob.
if you could surmise it in one word, what would it be?
Funny.
Nope.
That's
Strange.
Nope.
strange.
We have to delete so much of this stuff.
Yeah, this is literally going to... Every
Give
job
me a
gets
word.
part-
Tell me a word.
No, like, you got to be original. Don't say original.
Oh, I'm going to say original. How did you know I was going to do
Boom!
that?
I got this one, guys. All right, ask me again. I'm ready now. So, Katherine, if you had to say or define the show in one word to set us off on the interview, what would it be?
Delicious.
Wow.
Okay,
That
you
might be
can't-
our best one.
You can't laugh right after.
I'm just copying words that you said already.
Game face, bro.
Okay.
Katherine Legge, if you had to describe the show in one word, what would it be?
Just say something. Let it out.
I want to burp now.
She's competitive.
Katherine, if you had to describe the show in one word, what would it be?
Degenerative.
That's cryptic.
I'm gonna Google that real quick and just play the music. Just play the music.
Also hereditary? I don't like,
Well, I mean, it
Syphilis.
degenerated, right? We started off well. We had a couple of glasses of wine, and it degenerated.
sure.
Does that not make sense?
We have. I'm going to call that one the keeper because
Nope. We need to do another one. Katherine, if you had to describe the show in one word, what would it be?
Amusing.
an underwhelming setup.
And now for Dinner with Racers, presented by
Continental Tire.
with your hosts, Ryan Eversley and Sean Heckman.
Placeholder radio sound. I'm a driver. I'm very angry. This is the sound of a driver on the radio during a race.
What do you think I should order?
So, welcome to the next installment of Dinner with Racers.
And I'm Ryan Eversley.
Okay, fine. I'm Sean.
Was that too early?
That's good. All right, if you don't know who we are,
Don't worry about it.
it's good. So, we are coming to you somewhere between Florida and Atlanta on our drive back to Ryan's home.
I'm so tired.
So it's October 31st, 2015. We are wrapping up a cross-country trip in which we took Ryan and his...
Acura MDX.
With what tire?
Continental Tire.
And we met up with a ton of people in racing that we thought were interesting, and we invited them to dinner. So there wasn't an agenda. We didn't have a structure. Some of them we didn't know, and it seemed like a good idea at the time.
Continental Tires.
Took us how many miles?
8,000.
Yep, 30 days,
Like 20 states.
all to get 27 meals so that our fans could turn around.
They criticize us.
Yay! So anyway, next up, Katherine Legge. So Katherine is like a lot of drivers that are out there now. She started in karts, did what she could in Europe to make it through the formula categories. Eventually moved over to the U.S., which is sort of where she found her big fame. Big notoriety for Katherine came in 2005 when she became the first woman to win in sort of a major U.S. category of open wheel racing, winning at Long Beach in the Atlantic Series with Champ Car. And that sort of set her career to where she's at now. So she's driven everything from Champ Car to DTM to multiple Indy 500s, and now is currently a driver for Delta Wing in the WeatherTech Championship. And interesting dinner we had.
Yeah, she talked a lot about how her dad influenced her early career, as well as letting us know who her least favorite teammate was, and she had some choice words for him, as well as enjoying a glass of wine
and a little bit about the challenges of sports car racing that she's sort of headed towards, and all of this taking place at Zuma Sushi in Atlanta. Ryan, you had?
I had a rainbow roll and the Trust Me roll.
And I had a chicken sandwich.
Of course.
So thanks once again to Continental Tire. Let's talk to Katherine.
All right, we're going to start in 5, 4, 3, 2.
Did you have pizza?
Yeah.
Are you going to have dinner number 2?
Yeah.
This is dinner number 2.
We split a pizza that way. We would.
Yeah.
All right,
We like
very good.
crossed arms and fed each
did
other.
we not bring the leftovers?
Oh, shit, we really didn't.
Damn.
And and it was one of those things like the owner of the place came by to make sure everything was good,
Oh, cool.
and we hadn't gotten a bill. So I'm like trying to pull that like pretending like I want to pay the bill, but hoping he's going to cover it because of course we're great publicity because there's clearly going to be thousands of people listening.
Thousands.
And I'm like, oh, we didn't get a bill. Waiting for don't worry about it.
That's okay.
He's like, oh yeah, hold on.
Oh, man.
Close one. Let me make sure.
I don't think this place is going to do that either. I'm pretty
No.
sure
Yeah,
they
they
don't even
couldn't do
know that
two
we're here.
shifts.
So,
They have the good guy working though. The guy
Yeah.
that's behind the sushi bar. He's the
so we're eating at what's this place called?
Zuma.
Zuma. And we were originally going to go to across the street because allegedly you love the dessert there.
Chocolate cake, yeah.
It's chocolate cake.
Yeah, we
But-
call it over the road.
Over the road,
Across
even
the
though it's in
street.
fact across the street. And you were going to tell, you keep saying over the road to me, and I'm like, I can't find this damn place on Google.
Over the
And it's because it's in fact the wrong damn name.
Sorry.
But so apparently they're closed on Mondays because they're dirty hippies, like a lot of this part of Atlanta.
Deal with it.
And but so I just walked across the street here. But this place is awesome. It's
Over the
quiet.
road.
Yeah,
It's
I do.
got-
This is like my go-to place
Yeah.
for sushi around here because it's always empty.
Now-
Which isn't,
I
I guess, a
had
good
bad
thing. But like,
experience here,
did you
though.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, hmm.
Do they have Japanese people in the UK?
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah.
Okay. And the food too?
Yeah.
All right. Thought I'd ask.
It's not a third world country.
All right. I don't know what's there. It's it's hard to question. What was the T-shirt?
Back-to-back World War champs. Sean had never heard that before.
I'd never heard
so
that.
I told him that there's a shirt that says that. It's very like America.
America.
And he's like, they should put that on a shirt. I'm like,
That's where I
on
got
a
They
it.
have.
shirt, Yeah.
It's a thing.
Done.
it's a
It's a
thing.
thing. Are we recording now?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we just jump right in. We don't tell anybody. We're just
Oh,
Yeah, so all those,
damn.
yeah.
All those slurs you just said,
Exactly.
gonna be a problem.
Clean my mouth out.
You're gonna want to talk to somebody about that.
How long have you lived here, by the way?
In the US?
Yeah.
I moved over 2004. I came over and I lived in Houston for 3 months.
Okay.
2005, I lived in Chardon, Ohio. And then 6 and 7, I lived in Indiana.
So
in
basically, as
Indy.
long as you've been racing in the U.S., you've been living here, and then I assume during the DTM
Yeah.
spell.
I went back.
Yeah, yeah.
And I lived a year in England and 2 years in Switzerland.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Very, very good.
Favorite country you've lived in so far?
America.
Yeah.
Of course.
Why, other than to make Sean happy? What sets it apart from other places?
I don't know, to be honest. Just a general feeling. I think the glass is half full here, whereas it's more half empty back in Europe.
Sure.
You know, in Switzerland it was so beautiful, but there it was very officious. You had to put stickers on your trash bags. You know, when you put them
To,
out.
like parse it out as to what's what, or
No, like it's like a
or they just want
postage
to know that you like
stamp.
stickers. Oh,
Yeah,
like you're paying
you
for your
pay
trash.
for your trash.
Ah,
And there's so many forms and stuff to fill. I got done for going 1 kilometer an hour over the speed limit there one time too. So it's just it's very proper, you know.
Right.
It's like German times 20.
It's Swiss precision is what it is, but yeah. So I got to say, I'd never met your dad until yesterday,
Yes.
and we had lunch.
Daddy.
And your dad, first of all, is damn awesome.
Isn't he?
Yeah, I love that dude.
Papa.
What do you call him, by the way?
Daddy.
Is it Daddy?
Daddy.
Really?
Daddy.
Oh,
Daddy.
That's amazing.
Figgy pudding, daddy.
So what do you call your dad?
Dad.
Yeah, just
Do you?
Dad.
Yeah,
It's not daddy. He's
sir.
British.
No.
Sir.
Yeah, well, we're also
I'm sorry, sir. Yeah.
we're also dudes. Like, do dudes in England say daddy?
I think they do actually.
Do they
Like when
really?
they're
Yeah,
little,
it's a
when they're
thing.
little
Really?
kids. Yeah.
Yeah, we
No
spell mummy
shit.
with a U.
Yep.
Huh.
Yeah.
Not
But even
mammy.
like, I understand that up to a certain age. But even now that
Yeah.
because you're like
Well,
25 now,
Right?
and
24 and a half.
24 and a half. Sorry, and you, that's crazy.
Well, my mum used to call her dad by his name, Brian. So I think it gets to a point where they just call them their actual name for the most part. But I think my mum and dad will always be mummy and daddy. I'll be like 70. Mummy.
I admire that.
Yeah, we can't get away with that. Like, I'd love to call my mom mommy, but I also would get the crap beat out of me. Like, that's my mommy. What?
It's hit a point now where, God, I hope my parents never listen to this, but like
They won't.
with I know with the Asian that lives with me, just sort of as a joke, I literally call them by their full names.
All right.
So according to Kathy Heckman, like that is what I don't say according to my
yeah.
mom in front of her. Like Kathy Heckman
I know a
says.
bunch of guys like that.
Yeah, it's just what we do, but it's very un-British.
Well, like, hardly ever do we refer to Lally as Lally when we're talking about him to other people. It's
Yeah.
Andy Lally.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's just what everybody calls it. Like, Ryder,
Andy
Spencer's son.
Lally.
Andy Lally.
Here's so cute.
That actually brings up. So speaking of Andy Lally, so Spencer brought up a very interesting little factoid during lunch today, that up until he met Andy, he'd always been Spencer, and then
Spence.
now he's Spence. Now
He's still Spencer. It's like, up until I met Andy, I was always Catherine.
that's
and
what I was
then-
wondering. Is he because he calls you Cat?
I know.
Oh, I thought we were all supposed to call you Kat.
Well, I've always been Catherine. And
So-
even Spencer said to me, he's like, because I knew Spence before I knew Spence. See, I'm doing it now. Damn you, Andy Lally.
See? See? Andy Lally.
I knew Spencer before Andy. Well, no, I kind of knew Andy before, but I knew Spencer better. And he said to me, are we not calling you Catherine anymore? Are you calling you Cat now? And I'm like, I've been called worse. Call me whatever you want
That's
to call
such
me.
a Spencer question, too.
Yeah.
You're like, let me get to the bottom of this. What's going on here? Instead of just going with it. Like, yeah, whatever.
But
Yeah, I was calling you
My
Catherine
dad.
until I think Lally was the one that got me saying
that's
Kat.
it. Saying Cat. Well, that's the thing. Because I know Andy has a tendency to do this, I have never called you Cat. It's like I don't know her well enough to call her Cat.
Kitty cat.
Well, exactly. So that's just.
Do you know that movie?
The Built for Comfort or Speed, you motorboating son of a...
Wow, got the reference straight away.
It took no time.
The Built for Speed or Comfort.
Do you know Andy's favorite movie, by the way?
You spend too much time watching movies. Andy's favourite movie, yes I do,
Which is?
that one with the two Irish
No, that's
guys.
False.
the one
False.
with Mark Wahlberg. No, that's the fourth one. This is the one with Shia LaBeouf.
Oh, is he not
Fast
in
and
the,
Is
Furious.
Shia LaBeouf in the second one?
Is he... Well, yeah, but is he
Yeah.
not in the fourth one?
No, he's not.
Oh,
in
he's
it
out
at
of the
all.
franchise.
It's all Mark Wahlberg. Yeah,
So-
it's Mark Wahlberg and I forget who else.
Because Kat's looking at us like we have two heads.
Well, we've
Yeah.
actually bumped into Mark Wahlberg in New York.
I heard
And
about this.
I
because
walked
you were
past
there
him
with
and
it.
I'm like, oh my god, that's Mark.
Yeah, you were, because Andy loves Mark Wahlberg from what I'm
Right?
told.
And he
Yeah.
was like,
Yeah.
huh?
What's
Yeah,
not
you
to
were,
love?
you were in New York with the Potters, and like
Yeah.
you, John, and Emily.
We're like, oh my
That's Mark
god.
Wahlberg.
Right?
And Andy's just, of course, because
Oblivious.
Andy is just like, oh, shiny things.
A podcast.
Podcast. Like Andy Lally's thoughts as
Squirrel.
he's walking are probably like Andy Lally, Andy Lally, Andy Lally, Andy Lally.
No, it's
And
like
then-
it's like Andy Lally food, Andy Lally food, skateboards, food.
Pretty much.
So.
So-
What were you going to say about my
Oh,
dad?
your dad. Oh, go ahead.
Well, to finish the
I have no interest
The-
in talking about racing.
the
by way.
movie,
All right,
the
okay.
movie thing.
Fair enough.
He famously, amongst our group of friends, 5 years ago, saw Transformers 2, and immediately pronounced it the best movie he's ever seen.
Really?
Right, exactly.
Transformers 2.
Going on Transformers 2, so it's just because he fancies, what's her name? Megan Fox. Guess who just started following me on Twitter?
Megan
No,
Fox?
No.
Nicely
Wow.
done.
How
Wow.
cool is that?
Sweet.
Wow.
So you guys gonna hook that up, or
You know the difference
It's
between you and
entertaining.
Megan Fox?
There's quite a lot of differences between me and Megan
I would like to
Fox.
hear your answer, Sean.
You, Miss Legge, have talent.
Oh.
There it
Oh,
is.
was that out loud?
There it is.
What? It's only true.
No,
No.
there it is.
So, yeah.
So yeah, he famously said
Transformers was his
Transformers
favorite
2
movie
is the,
ever.
was the best movie ever made. To which all of us laughed hysterically in his face. And then of course tonight when
He
we
denied it.
he denied it. He's like, "What are you talking about?"
Never
So we
said it.
actually phoned a friend who heard him
We
say
use our
it.
phone to friend card.
Didn't even know that we were calling or anything.
Just picked up.
Speakerphone on the thing, and boom, it's Transformers 2. He was like, "Ah, come on."
Oh wait, what is that movie called with the two Irish people? That
Boondock Saints.
Boondock
Now that's
Saints.
his
Boondock
actual
Saints. That's
favorite
what I
movie.
thought,
Yeah,
right,
that's his
right.
actual favorite movie. But he claimed immediately upon seeing Transformers 2 that it was the best movie he's ever seen.
Yep.
And we've never let that go.
You know I'm getting him for Christmas now.
Right, right.
Oh, absolutely.
Megan Fox's phone number. I mean, Transformers?
So your dad.
So my dad.
So he and I, because you and
Daddy.
I roughly the same age, and so I think we got into karting around the same time. And your dad's stories were very similar to my stories with my dad, of like when you first started karting, you were packing the truck up. There was no hauler. There was no tent with 6 go-karts in it.
No.
It was you and your dad figuring it out as you went. You know, he's a home builder. He's not really a car mechanic, so
Yeah.
it's not really his day-to-day thing. Here's a random question: if you started karting today, knowing how the karting scene has changed, do you think you would be where you are now?
No, not a chance. I
Right.
don't think we had the money or the knowledge or anything to do that. Like you say, we did it on a shoestring. We put it in the back of his pickup. My dad is freaking awesome. Like, I wouldn't be where I was today if it wasn't for my dad. My dad is he's the best dad ever. So I used to pretend that I was asleep though. So even though he's the best dad ever, and I see that now, you know, when you're a kid
Yeah.
and they say, do as I say, not as I do, or
Yep.
you have to believe me about all this stuff, and
I-
you're like, yeah, whatever, I know
hear
better.
that now. Like, my parents still say that to me.
Do they? My
Yeah.
dad's given up at this point. He's,
He's
just
like,
like,
lost
you do whatever
cause,
you want.
lost
cause.
cause.
And I'd probably say, in
Exactly.
fairness, you've probably earned it.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Every single time. Like, no question.
Anyway, sorry, Kathy.
So he's very analytical, like analytical to the point where, you know, engineers, you meet certain engineers and they're very analytical. My dad takes it to a whole other level. Even after a weekend, like, he'll be back there today now and he'll be looking at all the IMSA times and analysing the split times and what he should have done here and there. So it was very
But he's
hard.
never driven.
No, he raced like 6 go-kart races.
Right.
But
That
he
qualifies
does,
him.
he watches so much and he learns so much and
Sure.
he does ask questions, and it used to really wind me up, but now I'm actually really grateful because he does have some useful insights. But, you know, we'd be on the way back from Rowra or something, and it's like a 6-hour drive carrying a trailer. And he'd be like, so the 83 sprocket coming down the hill, and it was like hour 4 of analysing whether we should have lifted the seat up or put an extra spacer on the front wheels. And so I used to have to pretend that I was asleep.
Right.
And I tell you what, we had this country
Which is what makes
music.
you a real race car driver.
Yeah,
Right.
that's like qualification number 1 right
Yeah,
there.
just
like, oh,
halfway checked out when it comes to setup. Yeah. I just wanted to
I
drive.
want to
I-
be successful. I'm
I
trying to get dirty.
remember all the words. We had this country music, and country music is not big in the UK, or definitely wasn't back then.
Or should it be?
And we had this country music tape because it was the only thing that was stuck and would play in the truck when we were driving. And I know every single word to every single song on that tape. And
What was the album?
I don't remember, because it was stuck in the.
Yeah, you know, it
Thing,
was,
I
it
don't know
was
what-
probably one of those like repeating.
But it
cassette
had like
players.
Convoy on it and stuff.
Oh, you've actually sang this in front of me before, and
Sorry.
you expected me to know it.
Yeah,
I remember
right?
that.
You're American.
You,
You
well,
live in
yeah, literally,
Georgia.
she's like, you know, the Convoy song, and I was like, what? She's like, what is wrong with you guys?
Yeah, but you're just a baby, so you don't even remember the movie or anything, do you?
What movie?
What movie? Convoy. Google it.
No, I don't remember the movie. I remember Over the Top. Do you remember that movie?
No.
Oh, okay, then get out of here. Talk to me about
Over the
trucking
top.
movies.
I was about to say.
Come on.
Over the
That should become a musical play.
Right, that is a real trucking movie.
Yeah.
It's about Sylvester Stallone, who's a truck driver who is a semi-pro, I guess maybe professional.
Yeah, if
He's
there
on
is
the
a
circuit at
Yeah.
least.
Boom.
Yeah, arm wrestler,
Oh,
and he
I
has
need to see this
and he like
movie.
has to arm wrestle to get his son, like to something to keep his son in his life or something. Yeah, but and he's a trucker, so there
I'm
you
super
go.
psyched. Over the top. You know, I'm gonna watch that when I get back.
Over the, there's a
It's classic. Have you seen Roadhouse?
Yeah, Roadhouse would be
No.
exactly where I
Okay,
was going.
So,
So you've clearly not seen
Don't-
what you would call cinema.
don't give me the young guy movie business when you haven't seen Roadhouse. I mean, Dalton's the man. You
Have
gotta
you
check that out.
seen Kickboxer?
No. I don't think I'd ever watch a movie that had kickboxer.
No, where he cracked, they get the whole tree down and the whole thing.
Right, like I said, it's a little hit or
Okay,
miss. It's
come
the convoy
on.
of karate movies. We were watching Bloodsport. Bloodsport?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, I've seen
Yeah, see
Bloodsport.
Bloodsport.
Yeah.
Kumite,
Okay.
everybody knows that one.
All right,
It's
whatever.
classic. So your dad's a good dude.
on topic.
Yeah, my dad's a cool dude.
Can I just say that she's by far the best smelling guest we've had?
Of this, I have zero doubt.
Yeah, I mean, like really bringing your A game there because the other two are just a letdown. Tom P smelled pretty good
Yeah.
actually. Yeah,
Well, he
like
smells of success.
Exactly, that's what it was. And
What
it
are
was
you
just
doing
like
sniffing
radiant. I can't help myself, physically or possible amount. I'm done. No, definitely the air or the
I think you brought the class.
right. That's what
Is
it
what
is. It
this is.
smells
You've got
like
red
class.
wine for crying out loud.
An accent that's
like a
clearly
real
fake,
deal.
but you're selling it so well. So
I think I sound American, so I go home, and everybody in my group of friends or my family says that I've got a twang. And then I come over here and everybody says I don't. I sound
No,
British, so
you
I
sound
sound
British.
like a
Sound very
mongrel.
British.
Although every American seems to think I'm from Australia, so I don't know.
So-
Oh,
where
we're a dumb people. That's what that is. Don't
Here-
ignore that.
So here,
Yeah.
because I have a few friends that are English ladies, and there's this weird thing that American guys feel this need to do. And funny enough, I've noticed a friend of yours does this all the damn time.
Copy.
It's the fake English accent. The guy feels
Oh,
like, hello, you know.
I wonder who you could be referring to.
I don't know, but there's
He's got
this
a lot better, to be
weird,
fair.
like for some reason, everyone shows up and decides they're the most Cockney English guy to ever meet you,
Right.
in just
Right.
the world's worst accent.
I mean, that's like a skit out of The Office, like
Yeah.
the American Office, where like he would just keep saying.
Yeah, and everyone feels this need. Does it? Does
Right.
it? One, is that true? But does that get a little old?
It doesn't bother me.
Really?
No, it's one of those things where it doesn't bother me.
You just
Because I
accept
do
it.
it to Americans too. Like, if I'm in the South, I'll be
You'll
like,
say-
oh,
I
y'all.
was about to say, I've heard you say y'all like 100 times.
All right.
Yeah,
I love it.
yeah, it's good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
It's
listen
not
to-
like
watching Convoy
a
and listening
slur,
to.
right? I am an American country girl at heart. Kind of, sort of.
So many directions I'm not going.
No one's gonna
Um,
hear this anyway, so don't worry about it.
Exactly.
So, anyway, so you're not somebody that got into racing with with a ton of means. You have no family connections, not a
Nope.
huge amount of money.
Nope.
So you went karting.
Yes.
And the karting scene in England at the time, I assume it's probably somewhat similar to the U.S., except the U.S. is far more spread out with their karting scene. So tell me about those first few years and where did the transition to cars happen?
So I started racing go-karts. We went on, I'll start at the beginning, we went on a family holiday, or as you would say, vacation.
Sure.
And we went to Spain, and my dad and my uncle had a go on the go-karts. And I really wanted to have a go, but I was too young. We came back to England, and in the local paper there was an advert for our local go-kart track. And my dad happened to see it and wanted to go over there. And I was always daddy's girl, and I was always a bit of an adrenaline junkie. I always wanted to do the scary, adventurous stuff. And my sister was very girly, so it was kind of weird because my mum and my sister would do stuff, and my dad and I would do stuff, and I would be playing football with him. And so I went to the go-kart.
Soccer.
Huh?
Nothing. Go on.
I went to the go-kart race with him, and he was actually the first one to get a kart. And so I used to go, and I was 9, and I pretended to be his little mechanic. And then I nagged him, and then for Christmas that year, he bought me my first go-kart. And I remember him being out in the garage, bless him, best daddy ever again. I remember him being out in the garage like every night for a couple of months, doing something, and I don't know what it was, but we didn't see much of him. But he was putting together this go-kart for me that he'd bought. It was an all-kart, number 12. I remember it like it was yesterday. And so we did a couple of races together, but he didn't want to get hurt or anything to happen. And so he decided just to focus on my racing. I think he was obviously a bit older.
So he was concerned for his safety,
Not for mine.
but not
He
for
played-
yours.
What were you, 12, 13?
9.
9.
I was
Oh,
9. It was a
wow.
little 60cc cadet kart though, but he was not a racer, so he'd never done anything like that before. And when you're older, well, he wasn't that old. I don't know how old he was at the time. I could probably work it out if I was getting
Probably 36 and ancient.
No, I don't think he was. He was probably he was younger than I am now, for
That's
sure.
funny. Anyway, go on.
But when you're learning something like that now, it's more difficult. So he realised that he had limitations. And yeah, it was just as fun for him to do it with me as it was to do it himself. So we did that. We did that for 10 years, every weekend, come rain or shine. I mean, it was absurd. Sometimes we'd drive to the north of England to go to a go-kart race, and there'd be snow on the road, and the trailer would be jackknifing. And we'd get to the go-kart track, and we'd have this big board of plywood on the front of the pickup.
Right.
And we'd be like trying to make these snow plow things to get rid of so we could go racing. We were up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and we were going, and he said to me, because there's lots of karting dads, as we call them,
Yeah,
that
Little League dads.
We all know
is
them,
what we
yeah.
call them.
yeah, and they force their kids to go and do it or whatever. And he said, if you are ever not up or you have to lead, you have to pull me along. I'm not pushing you along. So it was just something I enjoyed doing with my dad. My dad and I are very close. He's great. And I just had a passion for it. It gave me a purpose. It kept me out of trouble.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
And
Did they,
I
well,
loved
on
it.
that note, did they put restrictions on it? Like your grades had to be at a certain level?
Had to do
or-
school. Yeah, I had
Yeah.
to do all my exams and do school. And
What does that mean? To school? I understand going is like you had to keep
a lot of the kids when they're karting, they don't. Their parents would pull them out of school on a Friday, so they go
Really?
to a go-kart race. Yeah, I wasn't
Oh,
allowed
so you
to
had
do
to
any
still
of that.
Okay.
get your stuff done.
Yeah.
I had to do all my homework on the way, and it was very important because there was absolutely no way at that stage, or even into my car racing, that either of us thought it would actually turn into a career. Although I used to watch Formula One races with him, with like Nigel Mansell and stuff, and want that. There was no girls doing it. We didn't have any money. We didn't know what we were doing, and so it was never even entered my thought process that I would actually do it as
It just didn't seem like it. When it doesn't occur to you that it could be an option, you just don't look at it as an option.
No, I worked in a bank. I wanted to be an economist. I'm a nerd.
Well, you clearly went the wrong way.
Right?
So the 9-year-old Katherine Legge, who did she look up to?
Actually, there was a few people. There was this one girl called Ellen who was the first woman to sail around the world single-handedly.
That's cool.
Ellen MacArthur, her name was. And I thought she was really cool. But I sent her an email, like 12-year-old Kat. I think this was like just early teens or something. 12-year-old Katherine. Sent her an email like, I think you're awesome.
At 12 years old?
Yeah, they had
Really?
an email.
Oh, okay.
Then, yeah.
I went on Prodigy. Anyway, go on. Sorry. I gotta get one nerd joke in a day.
She never replied, so screw her.
Go on, Ellen MacArthur.
Yeah, she never replied, so that I was like, well, that's
She didn't
not
have
right.
email.
She's like, bitch.
Right?
Yeah. So she got dropped.
She got dropped. But I didn't really have any female people to look up to because they were all been and gone and done. Apart from then, along came Sarah Fisher, who I'm still good friends with now, and she's freaking awesome, and I love her to bits.
Cool.
The end.
The end.
Well,
Chapter
thanks for
break.
coming. Yeah.
Thanks for the wine.
Yeah.
So
No.
you went karting for 10 years and
I did pretty good.
right. Any big titles? Any?
Yeah, I mean, I won regional championships and lots of races. I finished third in the national championship in 1996. It was like the last year of my junior championships, and I was really pretty good, and I actually nearly won it, but...
Anybody that's still active today?
Yeah.
Jamie Green won it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you raced against him in DTM, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, we asked Spence and we didn't ask Andy this. Should have.
We didn't get into any racing.
Yeah, it was mostly
like some NASCAR, and that was it.
Yeah. But it's cool to see like the people you raced against as you started out.
I have
Yeah.
my Formula Renault. I got pole in Formula Renault. The second race of the season, I was racing with a good team, and I broke the lap record. And it was Kimi Räikkönen's lap record that he'd done the year before.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And then in
Yep.
that race, there was like so many good people. Lewis Hamilton was in there and everything, and I
Heard of
keep
him.
that.
Heard of
And then heard of him?
Heard
yeah.
of him. Yep.
And then every time, when you feel a little bit down or whatever, you look at that and so I am good. I can do it in the
I've
right
been there.
situation. You feel a little bit down on yourself. There was like 10 people who you'd recognize the names of on that list. So that's pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Why are we talking about racing?
I know.
Like,
it's lame.
You can look all this stuff up. What'd you have for breakfast?
Cliff Bar.
Ugh, you gotta stop hanging out with Lally.
Yeah.
Well, no, because
It's like
I
he
had a
lives off
team
those things.
karting thing.
Oh yeah, I
today.
saw that. Who did you
So
win? I saw you were on pole in the picture
I
you posted.
won. I won. I won.
Yeah.
So and I started
Like
at the back, and I had 2 massive accidents. So me and my crew chief Steph, he used to race Formula Renault.
Yep.
French guy, do you know?
I
him?
know. Yep.
He's awesome. And we had won like the heat races and the qualifying and everything. So we're like, right, reverse grid.
And this
make
was like
it fair.
this is like a Delta Wing karting
yeah,
event.
it was a
Yeah.
Delta Wing thing at Atlanta Motorsports Park, which
Yeah.
is actually pretty cool.
It's cool.
It's not
Did
bad.
you get a chance to go around the track?
No.
It's ridiculous.
They're doing it up. They've
Yeah.
got like this whole pit area thing that they've
Yeah.
done now. It's awesome.
Oh yeah, they built like a proper building and everything. Yeah.
So this was like an arrive and drive karting.
It basically
Yeah.
it's supposed to be like a Autobahn in Chicago
okay, they're doing their
or
own
Monticello thing,
Yeah.
and it's basically
Motorsport
like
Ranch.
yeah, it's like 45 minutes to the left of Road Atlanta. It's
Yeah.
the same distance sort of from.
But they have a little karting facility that you can do
they have
arrive and drive.
one of the
Yeah.
fastest go-kart tracks in the country.
Cool.
Like,
Yeah,
the
and it's like
layout's
really up
quick.
and down,
Yeah,
and it's
really
pretty
crazy
cool.
elevation.
Yeah.
It's neat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Steph said to me as we were going to the start, because we started at the back, he's like, there's going to be like massive shunts. And I'm thinking, no, there's not. And then there's the 2 ladies, in my line at the front because we're starting in reverse order. And I'm like, okay, you have to be careful not to scare them, right? Because they've never done it before.
And it's fast.
And it's
And
fast.
yeah.
And
no
you
one
come
gives a
down,
shit,
you know
yeah.
this, you come
Yeah.
over the hill and down into the
Right.
hairpin. and everybody just crashed into each other. I went sideways into Rich, who's the biggest guy on our team. He must be like 250, 300 pounds. I don't know weights very well. And I hit him sideways on. I nearly came out of the car, and it winded me. And then I was
Cracked a
going so
rib.
slow, I nearly couldn't be right. Like, duh. It doesn't do
Tough
my
day on the
legs.
track. Petite was fine. Yeah.
Yeah. If only they ran petite today. It was a lovely day.
So it was like a team
Building.
team building thing.
Yeah, and it was actually a lot of fun.
Formula Renault.
What
What? I know. Look,
What are you doing?
There's the occasional moment of racing.
Like, if we're going to
Okay,
talk
yeah.
about racing with Kat, let's talk about the fact that she's driving like the craziest car ever built.
I just want to get into one thing because I do think it's admirable. No, I'm serious. Because
okay.
this is something the kids. Because this is about the kids, as you know.
You keep bringing the kids up,
No,
but
the
I
kids
think
love
this is
this.
going to be
The
like
kids love
40-year-old
podcasts.
soccer moms on Twitter that listen
It's
to this.
entirely possible.
And then Cats fans.
And Mike Headland. It's going to be Mike Headland on Twitter criticizing everything we
He's
do.
gonna be like, that Eversley kid's got to go. Yeah. He's probably right. He's probably right.
No, because basically, as I understand it, your Formula Renault career, finances, like we all know.
4 races
kind of,
it lasted.
Yeah.
Well,
it
so
kinda-
I got into racing cars because I won a scholarship.
Okay.
So out of karting, I finished third in the championship. I won a scholarship to do a Formula Ford thing at
Right.
Silverstone, where I learned how to drive. And actually, it was Paul Edwards. Do you know Paul Edwards?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
of course.
He taught me how to drive a racing car in my mom's Renault Laguna on the outroads at Silverstone.
I saw him yesterday.
Did you really?
Yeah, he was coaching at Coda.
Really?
Yeah.
I wouldn't even know what he looked like now.
Yeah, he's still there.
Sketchy.
Still doing it.
And then we couldn't afford to do anything, so we bought our own Formula Ford Junior Championship, 1600, six and wings, and we ran another kid to help fund it. And I won a few races. I got pole a couple of times. Loved it. Didn't think anything of it. Then did Formula Renault. We got promised a sponsorship by this guy who, as anybody in racing knows, you get a lot of people come to you and promise you stuff and talk a lot, and it very rarely actually happens, which is one of the bad things about racing. But anyway, so I did the first 4 races. Second race I got pole, and I was in a good car, and actually I had an off after that in a test day, and I cracked the tub. And nobody knew what was wrong, but I knew that I sucked. And it wasn't until after the 4th race where we run out of money that they were like, oh yeah, you've got a cracked tub. And then I raced the car of almost certain death. We nicknamed it the car of almost certain death.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a good name to have
That's
for a
it,
race
yeah.
car.
I like the death machine.
It was a Formula 3 car at Rockingham. You may have seen
Mhm.
it. I've had a few big shunts. Oh, so the Formula Ford. I had at Spa, I had one of the biggest accidents you've ever seen in the Old Eau Rouge. I didn't know what I was doing, right? I was like 19 and stupid. And instead of hitting the guy in front of me with the nose box that we filled with foam so I could do that,
Right.
I lifted through a rouge, lost it, went into the gravel on the left, went into the gravel on the right, barrel rolled like 12 times
Oof.
up a rouge. That was my first one. I've had 3. I think I've had 3. I might have had more, but I've hit the wall too many times to realise. And then in the car of almost certain death at Rockingham, I went over the chicane and the front popped up and then it flew.
Yeah.
And it went
It just took
over.
I just watched that video.
There you go. You
Oh,
just
wow,
do
yeah.
this.
I'm gonna put
It basically
this
was like a blowover.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
up. So it's on YouTube.
Right?
Yeah.
Put Katherine Legge Rockingham.
Katherine Legge Flies is what it's titled. I'm serious. It's got 53,000
Part
views.
1.
All right.
53,000. That's way
I
more
wonder
than
if they've got the
people are
Formula
going
Ford one. Put Katherine Legge Formula Ford Spa. and
That's
see
what I
it is.
typed in and got this.
All right.
Yeah.
They can have like an hour-long video of all my crashes.
Of just all the just like carnage going around.
It's just development.
No, but
Just
where,
develop.
Right? It's
Yeah.
how you learn
Yep.
the hard way.
where I was going, this is that you'd done a certain amount in Europe with open wheel, but as far as I understood it, sort of the money dried up, and
Yeah, I had no
on
money.
to working as an economist, and then
Well, I was working in a bank. I was a bank manager, actually.
nice. Okay.
My dad had met Vicky O'Connor, and she had spoken to him about the ladder series over here and what to do, and she said, well, actually, Kevin Calcoven, who runs the Champ Car series, will be in England buying Cosworth, as you do, next week,
Yeah,
whatever.
whenever you can.
Yeah, yeah.
When
Gotta fit it
you
in
just
now.
you just pop
Shift
over
his
and
couch cushions.
Yeah.
so I do my CV thing. I print it out again, 2:00 in the morning because I'm working every day. God
CV
sent.
means resume
Ah,
to those
right.
in the U.S.
Right.
Yeah,
Oh,
Right.
sorry.
that's all right.
It's like rubbish.
I always read that and I'm like,
Yeah, I don't know what
Curriculum
that stand for?
vitae. It stands for actually. It's Latin.
oh, so
I
it's not even
believe.
English.
I may be speaking. May be speaking out of. Anyway,
Over here it's called a resume.
resume A. So I'm like, I'm gonna turn up at Cosworth and say, hey, can I speak to Kevin Calcoven,
Excuse
please?
me.
You know, the multi-billionaire
Yeah.
guy that's buying your car. I just
Can I
want,
talk to the
I just want
president?
5 minutes with him.
Can I talk to the
And
president?
was that your honest, like, sort of fix? Like, yeah, I'll just pop on in and
Well,
say,
my
hey.
dad,
start
you know, it's
doing
my
that,
dad again.
showing
My
up
dad's
places.
like, why not? And I'm like, I mean, you don't understand the cold sweats and how awkward this is. I mean, it's one of the hardest things that I've ever had to do for
Sure.
sure. Like, turning up in places where you think that everybody's going to think that you're a complete freaking weirdo. So yeah, I stand there, and you know, the lady on the front desk is like, what the hell's going
Yeah,
on here?
like
And
this
then-
random 20-year-old
Right.
just showing up.
and I'm like, I'm not leaving until I see him, because like I'll see him walk out at some stage today, and then I'll be able to talk to him.
So were you wearing your driver's suit?
No,
Oh,
I should have.
okay.
That would have been a good.
Right, just to be like, hey, here's what's
Just
up.
really hit the
Here's
point
what-
on.
Yeah. You're like,
But I'm
okay.
sat in reception for a good amount of time. I don't remember what it is, but his daughter Kirsty and his girlfriend at the time, now wife Kim, have me in to talk to them, just as you know, like, okay, let's get rid of her or deal with it, or he's
Right.
buying a freaking multi-million-dollar pound company.
Sort of
Right.
busy.
Sort of busy. And I get talking with them, and actually Kirsty, his daughter, said, do you know what, Dad, I think this girl is worth talking to you. And so he came in and he talked to me for like 3 minutes, and he was, you know, very abrupt with me and
Sure.
very like, why, what,
Because
huh?
I assume he hears about it, it's like, please, somebody else, please deal with this.
Yeah, exactly.
right.
We
But
had
my
this-
thing was like, I just want to know what you think I should do. I really want to race in Champ Car. I really want to do Atlantics. Like, how do you think I should go about it? I really value your opinion. You know, please, you know, tell me how you think I should go about this. Like, what should I do?
Right.
And anyway, they sent me packing. About 2 weeks later, I get a phone call from Jim Griffith of Polestar.
Yep.
Kevin Calcoven wants us to test you. Can you come to Phoenix, funnily enough, on Friday? And I'm like, oh my god. Daddy,
So.
can I borrow some money?
Yeah.
I need an airplane ticket. And got on a plane to Phoenix again. It was Firebird. Did a test with Polestar. They gave me a glowing reference to Kevin, and Kevin said, okay, you got the first 6 races in Atlantics. I went out and I won the first one.
Right.
And then
It's crazy, and then the rest is history.
the rest is history.
Yeah,
But,
it's-
you know, Jim Griffith and Polestar were so freaking awesome to me. I lived with them for
Right.
that whole year.
Right.
I really regret not keeping that friendship going. I think I got all caught up in the whole Champ Car thing, and I'm
Became
a
a
race
big
car
fan.
driver.
Yeah,
I'm
you're
like
way
big
too
time.
big. Yeah,
Driving
yeah.
for Newman Haas.
Yeah.
They're like the most awesome people
Sure.
on the planet, and I've got lots of love and respect for them, and I really regret kind of like letting that fade, and
Right.
I probably
Well,
should do something
like,
about
I remember that race in Long Beach in 05, which was sort of the
Mhm.
big breakout. And, you know, I'm sitting there in the stands with my dad and
that. Daddy.
you know, the lineup in 05 in Atlantics, you know, there were a few names like, okay, these are clearly the guys are going to be. And then there's
There
this,
was only probably 6 drivers that were any good.
Exactly.
To be honest.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And, you know, and it was like, okay, Charles Olsman's here. He's going to just mop the field with
Like
everybody.
everybody.
And then there's some chick, I've never heard of her, but whatever.
She crashed in
and,
qualifying. What the fuck?
You know,
Oh, should I say that?
And this
I
was,
should say that.
Is that our 7th?
yep,
Bomb.
yep.
Yeah.
Who'd have
Nice.
thought this
Sorry.
little English
Sorry,
dame?
Daddy.
It's a lady, apparently.
But no, my point is, like, you know, Danica had just come out of Atlantics at that point. This was her first year in IRL, and she'd done a couple years in Atlantics, and she was obviously good, but
Yeah.
short of a pole position, she hadn't won. And
She like finished 3rd, right? Was that her best result?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
And then she got 1 pole, as I remember, and you know, most of us had literally never heard of you show up, and then out of nowhere, somehow you end up in first, and none of us knew who you were or even how to pronounce your last name. And that sort of just set it off, because you had a couple wins there that year.
Yeah.
And
Finished 3rd in the championship.
yeah, and then straight to
wins.
Champ Car.
Well, then.
Better up.
Actually, the end of that year, I tested the A1 GP car for Great Britain.
That's right.
And you tested
Dubai.
a F1 car, right? as well.
tested the
for
Minardi.
Yeah.
Actually, Paul Stoddard and Kevin were really close at that time.
Okay.
Paul was angling for me to do the Formula 1 drive.
Yeah.
And then he sold it to Red Bull. So that was
Oh,
my
right.
one tiny glimpse at F1. And then I had to do a test for the Champ Car drive. And there was like Ryan DL, Ryan Briscoe, Frank Montani, all these guys. And then there's me. And I'm driving from Orlando Airport with Frank Montani. And I'm like, I'm going to suck. Oh my God. This was my first
Where'd you
full
test,
year of
Sebring?
racing.
Yeah.
Oh,
Nice.
wow.
Well,
My first full
Welcome to
year of
the
racing.
Yeah, that's a.
go to
Sebring.
Sebring.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd done one full year of racing in Atlantics, and it hadn't been against like a real deep field.
Right.
And I learned a lot, but I wasn't.
Well, and then
really
you have to jump
ready.
into one of the most brutally physical cars on the most brutally physical track.
Dude, I could
Yeah.
do 6 laps.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I got out, and then Jim Griffith was actually there, bless him. And I remember because I'm like pounding power bars and energy drinks in the bathroom.
I'm fine.
I'm gonna
I'm fine.
be
Yeah,
good.
it'll be fine.
And they're like, new tires, and I'm like, I'm gonna die.
Do you have any whiskey?
And Jim was like, you could do this, just like, oh, number 2, suck it up.
Yeah.
And he never swore. So anyway, I did suck it up. And Kevin Kalkoven said to me, all you have to do is match the time. You don't have to beat the time. If you match the time, you've got the drive. And I matched the time, and then he got on his plane and he left. And I'm like, did I get the drive? Did I not get the drive? Did I get the drive?
is that a no?
I would have been happier if you told me he had like a
Or-
jetpack and he just disappeared. Like, you've done
James
good.
up.
Bond.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was a shock. Yeah, new tires. I could literally do sort of 6 laps, and then I went and visited him. He had the place in Aspen, a couple of places in Aspen.
Kalkoven you're talking about.
Yeah. And it was like that Christmas, Thanksgiving. It was Thanksgiving. And he said, okay, you've got the ride. And I'm like, yay, where's the nearest gym?
Yeah. Just going to go do
I know my
1,000
next
push-ups.
5 months, exactly.
I literally spent all day, every day in the gym until the beginning of the season. Like I was doing 2-3 workouts with
Yeah.
Jim Leo of
Pit
PitFit.
fit, yeah.
Now, was that the kind of the lone path you were on? It was, you had a decent year in Atlantics, and so now straight to Champ Car. Was there, were there IRL opportunities? Was there interest
Yeah,
in
I got
NASCAR?
offered IRL. Before I signed the deal with Kevin, actually, I got offered a deal with IRL. When Danica went to IRL, they wanted somebody to go and
Yeah.
they'd be like, girl on girl,
Who doesn't love that?
Yeah, let's say there's a large
That
demand.
is
If
a
you want
pretty big industry.
to look at my browser history,
I do not.
no,
I really don't.
no one
I don't
knows.
even want to touch your keyboard now.
If I don't shake hands when we leave,
you
You'll- I'll
know
understand.
why.
It's all right.
it's just
Just,
logical.
just sitting where you are, you're already pregnant.
But you're not Asian, so you're fine.
Yeah.
Yes,
Good
I'm not your type.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
your fair. You're safe.
I mean, I'm a guy, so I'm almost there.
Aw.
What? Why is that a problem?
No,
Why
I
are you
don't
laughing?
care. Nothing. Go on.
So anyway,
Yeah.
moving swiftly
Back
on.
to car racing.
Yeah, let's talk more about that.
What were we saying? Where were we?
We're talking about how you got offered an
You got an- you
IRL,
said
right?
you
were offered
And
an
I was like,
Wow.
no, Kevin's been so
They
awesome to
wanna
me
go.
that I'm not gonna do that. And in hindsight, like career-wise, that probably would have been the best thing for me to do. But I was very loyal, as I am still today. Like I remain a very loyal person.
Sure.
And I did the Champ Car thing, and I'm glad I did in a way because Champ Car was the most awesome racing car on the planet
Yeah,
ever.
those
It was
things were-
brutal and
yeah.
manly, and it was just
Just a raw race car to drive.
Little
right?
off
Exactly.
topic or kind of jumping ahead, but why don't you think current Indy cars are like the same platform?
I don't know.
Because it's not like they were making numbers that we can't make.
Right.
Power and grip levels and design for aero. Like, why isn't it not spec,
the
Renard
big
or spec?
tires
Yeah, exactly.
and the
Why don't we go
big
back to that?
turbo
'Cause
engines.
that's not where the cost is coming from. I mean, 900 horsepower isn't that much horsepower in the grand scheme of things. I mean, you can buy
No,
a Jeep
no.
with 500
Well,
horsepower.
and they were able to do
I
it.
know, but
Yeah.
don't do that because it's still in the garage.
But, like, why do you think that is?
I don't
Like-
know. But honestly, I mean, I had that big accident in the Lola. And to this day, the Lola Champ Car was just iconic,
Sure.
epic. Panos did a great job when they
Their
came in and
version,
did it.
yeah.
Yeah. But, to me, the 2006 Lola year was the most brutal, fantastic race car that you could ever want to drive.
Right.
Sure.
And I don't know why they don't do that anymore. But it seems like a lot of the ladder series and everything as well, they don't make racing cars like they used to.
Well, I'll say this in general across all forms of everything except apparently drag racing, which doesn't really count. But like NASCAR, you have 950 horsepower.
Yeah,
You
and
go
they've-
208 miles an hour at some tracks. And then at sports car racing, for some reason, we're kind of stuck on this 500 range.
Yeah.
Right. Well,
And, like,
look at what the
185,
rules
it's
that
like,
they're now putting out for
yay.
Le Mans, where they're trying to detune them a little bit.
But Le Mans cars are getting
Well,
up
they're
there,
getting scary
but
fast,
it's like,
and I
why
get
aren't we
that.
going scary fast?
yeah.
And that's the way racing should be. People want to see something that they don't see every day.
Right.
And
It was popular before because it was dangerous. It was extremely fast, extremely loud. It was a spectacle.
Yeah.
exactly.
And it's not in a lot of places anymore. Like, there's a big uproar about F1 cars right now because they
Yeah,
don't
because
sound
they're
good.
so neutered.
And it's like, yeah. Like, it used to be something that if you did not put earplugs in, you were going to be in pain.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because it was
And
so
I love
loud
that.
and it's visceral, and that's what gets people to go, whoa, I want to see that.
Right,
Like,
my
what is
dad
that?
took me to the touring car, British touring car championship back in the day where they were like souped up proper road cars. You know, like I remember cheering for the Renault Laguna because my mum had a Renault Laguna. But they would crash into each other. It was a show. It was
Yeah.
like a big, meaty car with lots of power and, you know,
see 'em up on two
smoking Joe
wheels.
Will.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's
Joe
you know,
Winklehawk, were you going to say?
Smoking Joe.
Yeah, that's right.
Do you know what I
Joachim
mean? It
Winklehawk
was
was the man.
and Cleland and all those guys. Like, it was cool. Back then, it
Yeah.
was really cool. And everybody says, oh, there's way more things to do now. No, it's just, it's not as cool anymore. Like, you watch a
Yeah.
Formula One race now, or even, like, I would love to do NASCAR. Like, I really would. But I watched the race yesterday and I actually dozed off a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
You know, it's
Well,
not the same.
IndyCar 2015 has brought out a really interesting debate on spectacle versus safety, and you're seeing sort of an old guard, new guard kind of debate, and that's the thing I don't know that's being talked about. You know, you have a guy like Robin Miller going nuts about like, well, in my day, people drove dangerous, and that's how it was, and it was awesome.
Right, but
And
they
then
also
you've got
thought
a-
the world was flat.
Well, in the 60s, yeah.
In his day,
And then you've got other people going, well, nah, I don't want to see anybody get killed. And it's kind of,
Right.
and there's a level of danger that's just stupid, like, 25 cars in one, 50-meter pack
Sure.
for
Do you-
on 230.
Okay, so here's my take on it.
Yeah.
And
From
I
an
probably
IndyCar driver.
don't have
Yeah.
enough information to actually have an opinion. You know, it's like voting in the election. Nobody really has enough information that
Yeah.
they actually
You got
should
what
have
they
an
want you
opinion,
to
but they
have,
do
right.
anyway. So I'm
Yeah.
going to anyway.
This is America. You don't have to sell us. You can say whatever you want.
Say whatever I want.
Yeah.
Freedom of speech. So I think that places like COTA, where there's lots of runoff and everything, there is no downside to making mistakes.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
like
I don't like that.
Road America and, old school tracks where you have to have a healthy respect
Yeah.
for where you're racing and what you're doing, because at those speeds, even if you're in the safest car on the planet, if something goes wrong, I was just lucky, right? That was all it was. I was lucky.
Road America.
In my crash at Road
the
America.
accident at the kink, yeah.
That has nothing to do with anything else apart from luck. But I think that racing is dangerous. It should be dangerous. There is an element of danger to it. We should make it as safe as possible. Absolutely. We shouldn't take silly risks. I had that heart-to-heart with my dad. I said, please don't in any way feel responsible or sad. I was doing what I love, and I was lucky that I had that heart-to-heart with him. But I accept the risk when I get in, but I also have a healthy respect for it. I know when I'm going wheel-to-wheels with somebody on an oval who I can go wheel-to-wheel with, who I can't, the personalities and everything involved, and you know what danger you put yourself at. But that's not to say that they shouldn't make the cars as safe as possible to stop these things happening. I really believe that there is not enough focus put on the safety of the cars. But, you look at the tracks and everything, and I do think that they should have safer barriers. Safer barriers
Yeah.
were awesome. But I don't think that it should be made so
It should still be
bland.
scary.
Well,
Yeah.
okay,
right,
so-
it
but
should still be.
well,
There
still
should
be
still be
scary.
consequences.
Okay,
Exactly.
but let's put you on the
Absolutely.
spot then. So if you're gonna make that claim, and I'm serious here, so Indy 500 this year disappointed a lot of people, particularly qualifying, because we didn't get anywhere close to the speeds, and
Right.
we further neutered the cars because we had people going airborne.
Yep.
So what if
And I don't think they did enough to stop them going airborne.
well, I don't think anybody would argue that, but at the same time, if IndyCar turned around today and said, okay, Indy, we're gonna turn up the boost, we're not gonna restrict everything, and we're gonna go for 240 mile an hour lap times because clearly the downforce levels, the horsepower, it's all there. We're capable of
awesome.
doing
It's
these
about
kind of lap
time.
times.
Let's do it.
So that's what I'm saying. Knowing we could easily see cars go through the fence, would you be cool with that?
Absolutely.
And you would get in that car?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't agree with the way the cars were flying and everything.
Sure.
And you never saw that in the old, like we were talking about the old
Yeah,
champ
the
cars
old
and the
champ
old.
car. Sure.
They didn't do that. If you crashed hard,
Yeah.
but you knew what was going to happen. In those this year, you didn't know what was going to happen because they were going airborne, and that's what's the scary thing.
Because that's when you have
thing.
no control. And I understand that.
And I never had that fear of going airborne. The
Right.
fear I had was fire. Like, that's the thing
Yeah.
that freaks me out. But I think, yes, absolutely, they need to go 240, and you do need to have a healthy respect for it. And I always approached Indy in anything
Right.
that I did with,
So if that danger at Indy increases tenfold, you won't
and
care.
that's why I think that, honestly, it's bad, and it's disgusting to me that they let some of the people race that they do,
Sure.
because they're dangerous.
I
And
understand that.
they should park them. And they did this year park a few people because they were dangerous.
Right.
But I don't think that you should be put at risk by other people or
Right.
by the equipment. I think that it should be you're pushing the car and the equipment to the edge, and it's under your control whether you put yourself in that risk or not down to somebody else.
I went to Fontana 2 years ago or 3 years ago because I was racing the Lamborghini race the following morning.
Awesome?
What's that?
Was that when I was like P4, and then I actually,
That was 2013.
yeah.
You came after that, didn't you, for GMG at Fontana?
Yeah. Well, and I go to the IndyCar races in Fontana because I actually am a fan.
Okay, so you're like
Weird.
one of
Awesome.
20 people.
I am one of
that-
the. I have very little business in IndyCar.
Were you
but I go
were you in
a lot.
that race? What was it,
Yeah.
2012?
Were you in 2013?
2013.
You were there?
2013?
I was like running P4 behind Kanan, and I couldn't get past him. He was so good
Nice.
at like knowing where I was going. And then I had a bad pit stop, and actually I hit Justin. And so Justin and I were friends, and I hit him under yellow, which I'm not entirely proud about. I'm catching the field, and I hit him under yellow, and I'm fine, right?
You did
My
it on
car
purpose.
is fine.
You're
I
giving him a
didn't.
business.
And but it broke his gearbox. Like, I must have just hit him like right in the
Just
right
knock
spot.
something dumb
Yeah.
off, right?
Yeah, and at the end I go up to him and I'm like, "Oh, I'm so sorry," because I had a really good, like, a decent race
Yeah.
for the car that I was driving. And he said, "Katherine, not upset. I'm just disappointed." I was like, "No!"
Like, I'm just gonna go put a stake in my heart behind this trailer over here. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember standing in turn one because I always try to find a speed visual at racetracks.
Yeah.
And what I find is that if you follow the car from the moment it enters your eye past you and away, you don't get a good true sense of how
Yeah.
fast something's going.
Versus a
But if you
fixed
look
space.
at it
Yeah.
going past you, so if you're
Yeah.
looking as they come by you and you see it, and I was like, these guys are getting shot out of a gun.
Yeah.
And I think I
Yeah.
tweeted something like, these guys are absolutely modern day gladiators.
Yeah.
Guys and girls.
I think
Are modern day gladiators because that is an arena of, like, I'm
and
going
it's
for this.
scary
It is-
because you
yeah.
hit that bump and yeah, it's scary. My mum actually, she came to Indy 2012, the first year I did
was
it.
at that one.
And she doesn't come to a lot of my races. She came to like maybe 2 champ car races. She says it's dirty, dangerous, noisy, smelly,
Yeah.
and like, why would anybody want to?
She's right.
She's absolutely right.
Yeah.
So I'm doing rookie orientation, and I finished that. I come down pit lane. I'm walking down pit lane. It's quite a long walk, and she's coming the other way, and she's got her big sunglasses on, like
Couldn't
Audrey
be more
Hepburn. But I can see
Get
that
me
she's
out of
upset.
here.
She's crying, and I'm like, okay. She's just cleaned my apartment, done all my washing and everything. Bless her. She's freaking awesome. I love my mom. Just to try and stay away from the racetrack, she turns up, and I'm like, what? What has Daddy said to make you
What
cry?
happened? What
What do you
happened?
do?
Yeah.
And she said, "No, Katherine." She said, "They're going so fast," and she's
If you had
shaking.
no idea, yeah.
Absolutely. You stood in pit lane and you
Yeah.
see those cars go by and you have no idea. And do you know what? She was a nervous wreck. My apartment's never been so clean. She stayed at home.
So she never went back the whole month?
She went back for the race and she paced up and down in the garage drinking gin and tonic, trying to get through
Can I
it.
hang out with your mom? Like,
Yeah, you
next
can
time I go to a race, she's my wingman.
And you know what I thought? I thought, I'm really sorry that I had you over. I thought it would be good for you to see my
Enjoy,
race
yeah.
Yeah.
and you would enjoy it. But actually, it just
So
scared
now
the
she
living
just hates it.
daylight, and she hates it.
Exact same situation. My mom at Petite Le Mans 04, which we talked about before with Andy and Spence, or we talked about with Spence, was
Yeah.
the first year I ran LMP2, and I had no business being out there. And I'd only done like 4 races in my career, and it's like, hey, let's go do Petite Le Mans. Woohoo! And so I'm on track and night practice, and at night everything seems even faster than it is.
Yeah.
And my
Mhm.
mom like walks down to turn 1 in a P2 car. That's pretty fast. It's like
Yeah.
down 1 gear,
Downshift and
back to it,
up
you know.
car, yeah.
and she goes down to turn 1. She's like standing on the fence, and I'm driving by. And so I get out of the car. We just did like the minimum laps or something. And I come back to the fence. Like I'm getting out, and she's standing at the fence. I go up to her, and she's like bawling. And she's like, "You were going so fast. I was so nervous." I'm like, "Oh, really? Like I didn't seem that."
It doesn't it doesn't even register with you. And then you see them, and I mean, I can't even. I'm not a parent, so I can't imagine what it's like for them. But it's
So here's a very strange question,
go.
which of course is going to come from me. But so you're sort of at a kind of in the next chapter of your career. You know, there may still be opportunities in IndyCar here and there, but I would say largely, sports cars are probably the direction for you for the next few years. And you look at a guy like Andy, like Spencer, and so much of that career is driven on being a co-driver, finding that guy who wants to be with you to race, or girl, I should say. And that's an area where, some people would argue that a female with talent has advantages over other people because she's more marketable, whatever.
Disadvantage,
But
actually.
in sport, so here's my question: is going into sports cars, where so much of it is finding that funded co-driver, that wealthy businessman, that 19-year-old rich kid
Who doesn't want to drive with a girl and be shown up by a girl.
That's my question: is this the
Absolutely.
challenge that's ahead of you?
Yeah, I think so. I haven't yet come across that because, well, I'd say I haven't, but I kind of have.
Right.
But yes, I see that. You see these guys and they don't want a girl teammate because they don't want a girl telling them what to do, one,
Right.
or being quicker than them, two.
Right.
So yes.
Or even part 3. Which
Takes
is,
a really strong man to be able to do that, even in this day and age.
What if they just don't think you're good enough because you're a girl? I'm sure you come across that too.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So
Right.
I mean, there's like a lot of different
Well,
elements
even like,
facing
you know,
at you there.
the sort of the dark underbelly of the sports car is so much about lifestyle. So it's not even about being shown up by a girl, but let's face it, a guy's not going to call you up and say, "Hey, let's go to the strip club," which is sometimes part of the.
argue-
We went to the Claremont Lounge.
I'm not
I would
saying-
argue
no,
that.
I'm not
I would
saying
argue
you
that.
But I'm saying, think about a good majority of the 20-year-olds who show up as part of the Lucky Sperm Club.
Who cares about them?
Well, she should, in the sense that, or you should for that matter, because they're the ones who are going to fund you.
No, I don't
post-factory,
care about them. I care about their dad.
That's a fair point.
Because their dad's the one I'm going to have to talk to on the phone about how it's going.
Why is this working
and
out?
what's going on.
But I'm saying, like, it's not a matter of whether
What's
you're.
your intentions?
It's not a matter of whether you're game. It's a matter of whether a guy's going to be comfortable asking you to go be
Exactly.
a dude with him. And
I think I do being a dude quite well.
I'm not arguing you, but a guy has to know you to know that.
Right. But I think it's more
But this-
why you're looking at me like strangely.
No, I mean, I just was thinking, you and I were teammates last year for a race.
Yeah, that was cool.
I think
yeah,
I
but
said
you
this.
get it.
Oh, well, I appreciate that. Thank you. Forward-thinking guy. You're right. He's single, ladies. But like right away, I didn't think of Kat as a girl or a guy. I thought of her as a driver.
Race car driver.
Or as a driver.
Right.
But at the same time, I know, and I know this for guys and girls, but I know of girls that race that aren't there because they should be.
Right.
Right.
They're there because they're marketable or somebody thinks
Majority
they're-
of, unfortunately, that is. And they let the side down. I come through immigration. The last time I came through immigration, they say you've got a P1 visa and they see it's
I don't know what
fixed
that
with
is.
the racing team. And they're like, "Oh, you're a racing driver. Is that like an all-girls league thing?"
No, does that still happen?
Oh, yeah. And they're like, "Oh, they let the girls race with the boys?" And I'm like, "Yeah, they do that now. It's like 2015.
They do that now.
And they're like, "You must know Danica Patrick." I'm like,
you
"Yeah, we're
do.
besties."
You do know her.
You actually know you do know Danica,
Yeah.
right? I mean, it should be
I
good
kinda
for cross
know
paths.
There's like 4 of you. You have to know.
We had a
Yeah.
moment, we had a thing.
You showered together.
Wait, whoa. She did say girl on girl earlier, right?
Yeah?
That was her words?
No.
Right.
I don't really know Danica. I know her parents a little bit, and I know her a little bit, but not.
You can get a call back.
I've never called her.
Yeah, but you could get a call back.
If you
I
called,
don't
"Hey,
know
it's
whether- I
Katherine
don't think
Legge."
so.
Absolutely.
She'd be
No,
like,
anyway.
"Oh
You-
no, I don't
No,
want to
no, no.
speak
She'd
to
be like,
that
okay, I got to see what this is all about.
Yeah. So we have a bet.
Right.
Although I don't think either one of us took a side on this bet. But basically, we have a segment. We have
What's it
one
worth?
segment that we do in which the previous guest asks the question of the next guest,
Okay.
and then you're going to pass this on.
Right.
So our previous guest was a gentleman named Andy Lally.
Oh, he
Not-
got to ask me a question.
Not sure if you're familiar with him.
He does. He does get to ask you a question.
Mr. Eversley, what was this question?
Katherine,
You know, it's definitely Cat.
I wrote it down as Katherine. I was trying to be dramatic. Don't ruin it.
Sorry.
Cat.
Cat.
Hey, yo. What's the worst teammate you've ever had? Sorry, who's the worst teammate you've ever had?
Sebastian Bourdais. Douchebag.
I called she would say it. You didn't hesitate for a second.
Called him a D-bag.
Nicely done.
Okay, well,
Spineless douchebag.
High five.
to your credit, we both didn't think you'd answer.
Yeah.
Really?
So,
Bob Varsha
passing
question.
it along. So Bob Varsha, we're having lunch with him tomorrow.
The lovely Bob.
So,
Is he?
Bobby V.
oh, he's very nice.
No, I know that, but
I don't really know robots. So
see?
Yeah.
I know so I know a lot of them quite well, but Bob is one that I've
Them?
really not spent a lot.
You
You
people?
know, like the
You-
iconic
what do you mean
TV.
them?
Iconic TV. Some have raced, some haven't raced. You know, it's like it's a thing.
Okay.
Do you know much about Bob?
I don't.
All right.
You'll
Well,
And I
learn.
don't know Bob very well at all.
well, if you
Well, it's a good time
download
for
the
a question.
episode,
Yeah, episode-
you'll be able to check
What
it
will
out.
likely be
I-
episode 4 on November
I'll
18th.
be listener number 16.
Easy. It's
Hey,
maybe 12.
yeah.
Maybe. Like after intermediate family.
Although this,
Yeah, like-
the thing is, this episode might bring the audience back after the way we opened the episode with Andy Lally.
See, it would be really easy if it was like Brian Till or somebody. I'd be like, dude, I've got a question for Brian.
You know, not taking anything. We actually wanted to get Till, and we're thinking about getting him for next year.
Yeah.
And we also try to get Calvin, but Calvin's going to like Europe
Yeah, wherever
yesterday.
it is.
Oh yeah.
For like a
See,
month,
I'd have
so-
a question because I know them.
Right.
You know, like
Sure.
since
Well,
the
that
Atlantic
makes
days,
us-
10 years.
That makes us all the more awkward.
yeah.
I'm kind of liking it.
Right.
Which
This is actually
like,
better
Bob,
because
I'm like,
you've got
I'm
another
still
one.
like, hello, Bob.
So
Like me? Check yes or no.
yeah, or maybe.
It's nice to
this-
see you again.
This might be better though because you should ask him something really odd
Yeah.
and off the cuff that he's like, oh, okay, Katherine. Well, I don't.
That's your
like-
Bob Varsha impression?
I have no impression of Bob
Well,
Varsha.
so
I don't
my-
even know. I like.
My
it.
question to Bob would be: is that your everyday voice, or do you do like a voiceover voice?
I'm gonna say what we said to Andy's question. Like, no.
I think that's a decent question.
Try again.
No, I actually I like that question.
It's his everyday voice.
Yeah.
I can
Yeah,
answer
it
the
is
question
kind
for
of
you. I can answer for
Okay.
you. Yes.
Do you have your loo roll over or under?
What's that?
What?
What? I
Oh,
mean,
her loo roll. Toilet
So
paper.
there's this thing that's okay.
Toilet paper.
okay.
Over or under.
Well, let's say loo roll to see if he knows what the fuck she's talking about.
So Andy and I have this thing, and I actually
we
showed
had
him a
this discussion.
YouTube,
We know,
right?
we know.
YouTube video. It's like it has to come over, and then I go into the
So,
bathroom and I
Just to
move
convert
it, and then
this
he
to
moves
American,
it back.
You're talking about toilet paper being rolled under or under
Exactly.
or over. Loo, no one's gonna know what loo
Loo
roll
roll.
means. Like, is that like a jazz singer?
Loo roll. No, but that's actually not my genuine
What?
question.
It's
That's just the weirdest thing I think of at the time. I had
day
a good,
one.
I
Yeah.
had a good thing, and I
3
can't.
in the can.
What's the hardest thing he's ever had to say on air?
Winklehawk.
Winky.
Winky.
Penis.
What is the hardest thing he's ever had to say on the air?
Penis.
Well, because that could go down a very dark path, though.
Penis.
Because he's seen some
could it?
tragedy.
Yeah, you know what? That's a
Uh,
good point. So, but no, that's a good question. If we don't want it to be funny,
Yeah,
It's actually
well, because I don't
'cause-
think the Varsha one's going to
'cause
go down the
he-
funny route.
I think he'll
might
surprise
be.
you.
I hope
he's
so.
actually got a good sense of humor. Yeah, he's a funny dude.
I'm not denying that. I just who knows.
But yeah, I bet you. You know, he's gonna have Senna.
Yeah.
You know what I
Greg
mean?
Moore.
Yeah.
Oh no, that was what's his face?
That would have been like Bob
That was
Jenkins
Paul
or something.
Page.
Yeah, or Paul Page.
Yeah.
Right, because I have said the F word tonight.
Don't,
Sorry.
Like,
don't
when
feel
you're on
bad.
word,
Everyone
when-
else.
My
has.
apologies.
Okay,
Mr.
maybe he
Derek
doesn't
Legge.
have 2 glasses of wine when he's doing the broadcast.
But
However,
you kind of inspired us that there now is a mandatory.
I think it's gonna be a drinking with dinner thing. Yeah.
Drinking
It's
with
gotten,
dinner.
like,
Yeah.
much better.
DWD.
So, you have a actual pretty cool set of tires on your car. They're the most expensive Continental tires ever made on the Delta Wing.
For the Delta Wing.
Yeah, because they're
Yeah.
custom size,
Their own
Apparently
mold
small
so.
batch, and it's a really odd mold size.
Yeah.
So you have the distinct honor
Congratulations.
of having the
Are
most
you just trying to
expensive.
mention Continental here?
I am because
Might
they're
be.
sponsoring our show, but also that is a true statement because I remember when they got the deal to do the car, I heard from one of the guys there that was like, great, these are going to cost us an arm and a leg, which
Yeah.
they probably do,
They do, yeah.
but you've gotten to use them.
They do a great job. So
Cool.
I was always a girl because I had a relationship with since I was driving with
Champ
Who?
car and everything.
Car.
Yeah.
And Alspire then moved
By the way,
to.
we're gonna beep
Yeah.
that
never,
all
yeah,
out.
that's how.
Yeah, because your boy.
Well, no.
Lowry was
Let me
saying-
get to the.
saying-
Let me get to the.
Oh, it's like, yeah, because
Yeah.
once the
Beep.
years come on.
Wait. I'm getting to a point. So we ran on the Delta Wing, and I'm like, best tire ever. And then
Were they? Or were you just saying that because it's your boy works there and they're your?
I had always run them, apart from when I went to and DTM, which weren't that great. And then I came over and we did the test after Petite. It was like week after Petite 2 years ago on the Continentals, and they were better than the.
Wow,
And I'm like,
that's cool.
damn, who would have thought it, But they did a really good job, and they're actually really good tires. So I was pleasantly surprised because I'd never really worked with Continental before, and it's been nothing but a blessing.
Well, they're good people. They're allowing us to have dinners like this with you.
Yeah.
And crack.
So, yeah. No, are you good?
I'm good.
Do you
Is
have
there
fun?
anything else you
I
want to
had
talk about?
fun.
Last, anyone you want to?
Yeah, I mean,
Toilet paper.
by the way, well, that's what it's made for. I mean,
Yep.
technically.
So
Oh,
far,
okay.
we've alienated Sebastian Bourdais.
We haven't alienated him. We've just,
Yeah, we've
put him
just
on
made
blast.
it clear. That,
yeah,
put him. On,
like Cat Legge doesn't give a shit.
she could give two shits about you.
And if
I
she
mean, I
does,
wouldn't say
she'll use toilet
anything-
paper.
The thing
Yeah.
about me is I would say the exact same thing to his face that I would say
Not a girl.
on
Yeah,
here.
Good.
Totally.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
So, yeah, he was not a great teammate.
Well, he's our fourth interview, so
Yeah.
we'll see him after Varsha.
We'll
is that
see.
right?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, thanks for coming on, and again, thanks to Continental Tire for making this happen, and I guess they're going to get the check.
I'm finished.
And there you have it, Katherine Legge. Pretty forthcoming when she has a couple glasses of wine. More power to her. So, continuing the tradition, we will play yet another band, this one called Citizen Cope, also available on iTunes. That's C-O-P-E. There is a album known as the Rainwater LP, which you can find, and a song called Keep Askin'. Thought it would be a good closeout for this one, so rock on.
Keep asking, how long will my love it last? Always keep asking, how long will my days pass? Always you keep asking me, my love. Keep asking help from above. There comes a time and a place when you kind of mind live day to day, when country to country and state to state, and they all got their leaders who all push their weight. Another mother lost, another child today. Bet tomorrow that would be yesterday's. Bet you double that. Some people enraged on the corner with their voices raising Judgment Day. Keep asking, how long will my love it last? Always you keep asking, how long will my days pass? Always you keep asking me, my love. You keep asking help from above. You keep asking me, my love. You keep asking help from above.